Here's what happens in season 3, episode 1, called Shatter. All right, so we saw the end of last season. Tabitha went back to the real world. That's a whole mindfuck in itself. And she goes to see Victor's father later. So we're going to get some answers with that. But basically, this picks up right where that left off. So she wakes up in Camden, Maine.
You're in Camden, Maine.
Which is the birthplace, or at least the town that Victor is from. So that's a little coincidental. She's in this hospital. She finds out from the doctor that cops are coming. She's like, fuck that. I'm not staying around to talk to cops. So she puts on her clothes, gets on the elevator, and gets the hell out of there. While she's outside, she sees the little boy who pushed her out of the lighthouse.
Hey!
So she's still getting visions from Fromily. So Boyd, he's still seeing Father Kotri, but he kind of goes, the things I see aren't really real. So what are you?
So what are you?
And Father Kotri goes,
I'm afraid I can't answer that for you, Boyd.
We got this whole thing with Boyd saying this place can't break me. So he doesn't know what's going on. And then Tinshen has Ethan, and Ethan's all worried about Tabitha.
We have to go find Mom!
Where's my mom? Where'd she go? And he tells Jim, his father, he's like, why'd you tell them? And he's all worried. He's like, I really need to find my mom. So that's a common theme throughout this episode because Jim wants to go and find Tabitha. Boyd says it's a bad idea. Boyd hints that she's already dead. That does not go well with Jim.
Don't you fucking dare.
He's like, you don't say that. You don't say that. Fatima is having morning sickness, and I was watching this with my wife, and she's like, in the whole colony house, there's only one bathroom. That place is massive because the person's trying to get in to use the bathroom. It's like, there should be another one. That place is huge. Come on, leave her be. She's fucking pregnant. And then she even complains. She's like,
it's bad enough you're getting double rations without you hogging the bathroom.
Boyd is trying to help Jim with planning. He was like, when I was out there with Sarah, we were in a tent with the talisman. We got dragged to God knows where, but we saw these spider webs. So if you see these spider webs, you know you're going in the right direction. Kenny wants to go with them.
I'm gonna go with him.
And then Jade, my personal favorite character. I love Jade. He breaks a window in what used to be the bar, and now it's just this place where he's got these strings hanging up, trying to figure out what the sign means.
Every time I see something really weird, I see this.
So he's trying to replicate the symbol, and that's what we get from Jade early on. Then we're back in the real world. Tabitha asks to borrow a cell phone. She calls her mom, and her mom's like, where the hell you been? Cops are looking for you. Please wait. I got a detective. Talk to this detective. She's like, we can't talk that much. I just want to let you know we're safe, and we're trying to come home as soon as we can. Now, we got a big issue to deal with, guys. There's no food left. So Donna's dealing with the food issue, right?
Boyd, we're out of food.
And all of the crops that they planted are rotten. All of them. She tells Boyd, we're out of food. They don't know what to do. So then people go to Tinshen's house and just mob her house and steal the rations. So now they're like legit out of food. So then Randall, he goes to take a goat. He's kind of a fly by the seat of his own pants type of guy. And he was an asshole last season, but I kind of see him turning over to the good side this season. So he wants to take a goat, I guess, to kill and eat, and Victor pulls a gun.
This guy's got a gun. Are you fucking kidding me?
Is that seriously what you're focusing on right now?
What the hell is up with that? And then Boyd comes to de-escalate like he always does. He's like, you can't take a goat.
They are a resource.
We're out of food. We really need these goats right now. He gives the boat back. And then off Kenny and Jim go, and they see human scarecrows is what I called them. Jim wants to stay in these little huts instead of staying in the tent.
We could just hang the talisman in one of these things.
And Kenny just wants to look for the spider webs like Boyd said.
Boyd said if we saw spider webs in the trees, then we know we were heading in the right direction.
And then Tabitha goes to confession. My favorite thing when I was 12 years old. She explains what happened to her to the priest. She sounds crazy, but then the priest goes, just humor me. What kind of snack did Victor make you? You say he made you a snack before you left. So she opens it up and it's like, nothing. I'll put it up on screen right now. But the big point is she finds Victor's address written down in the lunchbox, and it's Camden, Maine. So that's what I was talking about earlier. They went to Victor's hometown, which is insane. So she's like, all right, I know where I need to go. And then we see Elgin. He turns out to be dreaming. He was like fighting off his sleep with the woman next to him. And the woman's like, oh, is that the lady you keep seeing? And he wakes up and he was dreaming. And then Donna, okay, she explains that all the rations are gone and that they really need to fix this ASAP, because if all they have is milk and eggs to deal with that many people there, either the monsters have to have a feeding frenzy and kill a shitload of people, or they need to figure this out ASAP or people are going to start starving to death. So this is when they talked about planting in different places.
We plant smaller crop, different places, different soil.
And then they kind of think about killing the animals little by little to eat. Ethan wants Alma to go first so she doesn't have to see her friends die, because Ethan really likes Alma, the goat. So then we're getting towards the end, the crazy finale. But before we get there, Tabitha shows up to Victor's address. And then some man shows up. He's like, get the hell out of my property. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And then he sees the lunchbox.
Where did you get that?
She goes, oh my God.
You're Victor's father.
Back to Jim and Kenny. Jim's worried they're headed in the wrong direction while they're in this little hut that they found because they haven't seen the spider webs. He wants to find higher ground. And then we see the monster start making noise outside. And then he goes, you know what? This is probably a bad idea. And then we see the monsters for the first time fuck with the animals. So it's kind of like they've been giving direction on what to do. Or at least they know that the crops are rotten. So now they want to fuck with their food supply. And they open the doors to the barn, to the farm. They let the goats and the cows roam free. Jade and Boyd are talking, but it's interrupted because Boyd sees the animals outside. So he goes outside with Jade, and Jade's like, we can't be out here. We can't be out here. I fucking love Jade, man. He better not die. They want to get him back to the barn. Sheep are running everywhere.
Sheep, Boyd!
Victor and Tenchen then see it, and then they go outside. So a bunch of people are outside. I'm expecting someone to die. And then Randall wakes up. He sees that the monsters are coming. Ethan opens the door. One of them is right there. And he wanted to go outside and help. They run off. And then Sarah is there to help. She comes out of nowhere. Jade is surrounded at this point. He is surrounded by monsters. And then they kill one of the cows. Kills one of the cows viciously. That was rough, dude. And then Randall sees Julie, Ethan, and Sarah, and he gets them inside his bus. So Randall is a savior for the moment. Here's the crazy ending, guys. So they start getting some animals inside, not even to the barn, not even to the farm. Just get them inside anywhere. Just get them inside. So they do that, but Boyd and Tenchen get to the barn and put up a talisman, but it's too late. They're already inside. There's some of them already inside, and they're taunting him. They're saying to Boyd,
you said this place couldn't break you.
You remember that, boy?
oh, this place can't break you? We'll see about that. They handcuff him to a pole and they make him watch as they tear Tenchen apart. Insane. Poor Kenny, dude. Now he's lost both parents. Season 3, episode 2 of From, called When We Go. This episode starts off with Jade. He's like, all right, I should go check on the barn.
Somebody has to go and see
if they saved the cows. And he goes in and he sees Boyd and he's speaking Cantonese. And then he sees Tenchen ripped to pieces and Boyd is distraught. It's a very, very sad scene.
I'm so sorry.
So then Jim wakes up and Kenny wakes up. He doesn't know what happened yet. And Jim found all these crops and he's like,
Look at this. It's enough food here to feed everybody in the entire town.
so what's up with that? Something good happened after something bad happened. They're just giving them hope. So then Tabitha wakes up at Victor's. He has a gun that he bought 40 years ago. And she wakes up. He points the gun at her. He's like, you got to tell me about that lunchbox. And then she starts to talk about the town.
But there were people there, and some of them have been there for a while.
And then he's like, no. Tell me about the lunchbox. And she's like, I'm trying to do that. And she explains what happens with the town. He's getting angry.
Where did you get the lunchbox?
He gave it to me.
And he's like, I'm going to call the cops. She's like, please don't call the cops. He's like, I already did 20 minutes ago. They're on the way. And then she's like, well, I got something to prove. I'm not lying. Very smart what she does. We'll talk about that in a second. And then Sarah tells Christy that Tenchen died.
If you think for a second, Chen died.
And then she tells Mary. Boyd takes the body to the church. They want to bury her with her husband. And Jay's like, wait a minute. How the hell are you alive? You were in the barn with those things. How are you alive?
They wanted me to watch.
And then Donna runs up to him.
Is it true?
He walks away. They get into a heated debate later. And then Ethan is very upset. He doesn't want to believe that Tenchen is dead. He really liked her. She really loved him. So then Victor goes, I got to go.
I told you that bad things happen here. It's not my fault that you didn't listen.
I got some shit to do. And then back to Tabitha and Henry. That is Victor's father's name. And Tabitha shows him that, look, we're missing. They go on the internet. We're missing. I'm not lying. There's this town that people can't leave. And then she brings up the children in the tower. And he's like, whoa, back up a second.
Whoa, what did you say?
Him hearing that when the cops come, he goes, no, there's no break-in. I'm sorry. It was just dogs. Her saying that, we find out later that his wife had visions of that stuff. And that was the moment where he's like, maybe you're not so full of shit. And then this is when Donna gets in a fight with Boyd. And she's like, was it worth it, Boyd?
Risking everyone's lives for what? An extra goat, a cow?
How many animals did you even save? Was it worth it? You got one of our people killed. We're what matter. The food's not what matter. And he's like, wait a minute. Last week you were freaking out that we have no food, and now you're pissed at me that I was trying to save the food? Like, what's up with that? And he's all pissed off.
And now you're standing there telling me that we would have found another way. Get the fuck out of here.
Ellis checks in on Fatima. She spits out blood. She spits out a tooth. Ellis is like, we need to go see Christy. She comes out of the bathroom.
I think you're right. Maybe you should go see Christy.
So they go. Christy's not there. Mary's there. She's like, I know a lot about pregnancy.
So as far as pregnancy goes, I've pretty much seen everything.
That's kind of my specialty. So you're in good hands. We're good. Christy and Boyd talk. And then Christy's like,
This isn't your fault, okay?
and then Kenny and Jim show up. And it's really tough scene because they're so happy. They're like, look, we found all this food.
There's a lake and it's got everything. There might even be fish.
Everybody's super quiet. Jim's like, where are my kids? Boyd's like, your kids are fine. And then Kenny's like, where's my mom? No one answers him. And then he starts calling out to her house in Cantonese.
Stop! No.
Mom, where are you? He knows she's dead. He doesn't want to accept it. Chrissy's like, I'm going to go help him. Don't worry. So he goes to the diner. Chrissy's there. He's like, I'm okay. I want to know where she is. She's in the church. They talk more in a second. Back to Ellis and Fatima. So she hasn't eaten in 4 days. And then Ellis questions Mary's mind state, talking about her being an addict. She's like, oh, because I went through withdrawal. Dude, you're in good hands. She's malnourished, and she has...
You also may have something called hyperemesis gravidarum. It's essentially really bad morning sickness.
And she needs to start eating more. That's something really important, and it's not going to help the situation if she continues to not eat. She's got to force herself to eat. So as far as they can tell, the baby is fine. Then Kenny asks if his mom suffered, and I'm like, bro, you don't want to know. My wife was like, why did he ask that question?
Did she suffer?
Oh, God. Like, you don't want to know. And then he talks about his dad. He's like, the only thing I can picture when I think of my dad is him destroyed in the basement. I don't want that same thing to happen with my mom.
Can you make her look like her?
When I finally see her and she agrees, and then Celebration plays on the jukebox. The town is just jabbing Kenny at this moment. It's horrible. So he freaks out. He smashes the jukebox, and then Jim walks back into Julie, and Julie's like, dude, Ethan almost died too. We saw when he opened the door to the grandma. Julie goes, when Thomas died, you and mom both fell apart. I can't go through this again.
I need you to get your shit together.
So then back to Henry and Tabitha. He says his wife heard voices from children calling out, talking about that they were locked in a tower. No one should know that. I told a detective.
He died 20 years ago.
You know that. So what's up with that? Then he shows her where his kids slept. And he said, the last thing I said to my kids was,
Clean your room or no TV.
He's really hurt. He's like, I don't even care that everybody thinks I'm the reason my family is missing. I'm just broken because I lost my family 40 years ago. I've had no answers until you showed up at my doorstep. So now I want to know more. How do you know about the voices? You must be telling the truth if you know about the voices. And she's like, well, I think I was sent here to find you. He's like, no.
I think you're here for what's in the basement.
And then Fatima tells Ellis to go see his dad, dead ass crops, and she is scarfing them down. So then Christy and Jade are trying to make Tin Chen presentable. And then Sarah walks up. She's like, look, when the diner was dead, we used to play dress up. This is the dress she always wore.
She said she'd wear it the day we all went home.
I think it'd be nice if you buried her with this dress on.
Thank you, Sarah.
And then Kenny is pouring alcohol into bottles. And he's like, I'm going into the tunnels and I'm going to burn those motherfuckers.
And I'm gonna burn every last fucking one of them.
So it's really cool, but it doesn't happen because of this scene. They're at the tunnels and Boyd goes, look, they want us angry. They want us lost. Let's go kill those motherfuckers.
And we will take out as many of those motherfuckers as we can.
But then he brings up that his mother was saying something in Cantonese while she was being killed. And Kenny goes,
take care of him. That's what it means. He'll be alone now.
So then Kenny cries and he's not ready to fight. So they're not going to do it this episode. So then we see Jade and Christy did a great job making Tin Chen look presentable with Sarah's help. They put the dress on.
I just want it to be right for Kenny.
She looks great as you can be for being ripped apart by these creature monsters. They did this right before Kenny walks in and he goes and see his mom dead for the first time. Very, very sad. Then Henry brings Tabitha to the basement. He's like, yo, we used to be hippies back in the day. We quit when our kids were born. We decided to do acid one last time. We sent the kids off with the babysitter. Then after that, she started hearing these voices. She started seeing the Ankui kids. And then she described a place that is everywhere, but you couldn't find it if you tried and you can't leave. While this is going on, the funeral scene for Tin Chen's going on. And then there's the Easter egg montage. We see Ellis talk to Boyd and then Boyd's like, yo, I'm going to need your help.
Better catch one of these fucking things.
So the last scene, Jim walks in the house. The phone rings. It's Thomas. They say it's Thomas. It's obviously not Thomas. Season 3, episode 3 of From, called Mousetrap. So this episode starts off with Thomas, maybe not Thomas, probably not Thomas, on the phone with Jim. He's like, "You're not my son." And then he's like, and I'm like, oh shit, he's fucking with him.
You are not my son.
So then we see Boyd ringing the bell, and then him and Jim talk. Boyd can tell that Jim is not in the right mindset. He doesn't tell him about the phone call. I wish he did talk to somebody about it, but he goes,
"Things are getting worse around here, aren't they?"
Back to Henry and Tabitha. So she was looking at the paintings all night. Guess what? I would have been doing the same exact thing.
There has to be something in that basement, in those paintings that I'm missing.
What is all this stuff? There's answers here. Tabitha has kind of a breakdown this episode, especially towards the end of it. And then they talk about the boy in white, and then she hears something. Henry goes,
"Oh, the bottles. Randy used to call it the bottle tree."
So they have one in their backyard. What the hell? And then Boyd is talking to Ellis about how he wants to trap one of the creatures, and he wants to do it by trapping them inside of a house and then putting a talisman in the house, and then they can't leave.
They keep those things from getting into the houses. Maybe it can keep them from getting out of something.
Donna comes in and she's like, "Look, dude, this is a bad idea. I don't think you should be doing this." And then he says his own words.
They are not human.
Well, according to Christy, they were at some point.
And then we see Kenny leads a group where him and Jim stayed, and they see those scarecrow looking things, and their objective is to get more food. They all drew straws, and they have to go out and get more food and bring it back to the town. So that's what they're doing for now. A huge thing happens later in that setting, so we'll talk about it in a little bit. And Ethan is wondering if Tabitha's body is just rotting, and then Jim gets pissed.
Stop. God damn it.
And then Julie gets pissed at Jim for getting pissed.
They're really gone for parent of the year, huh?
And then the phone rings again, and he just slams it. So, yeah, this is the scene that we were talking about, alluding to earlier. Henry tells Tabitha that the bottle tree is not the original.
The original's in a park a few towns over.
And it's where they dropped acid.
You could say that tree is where this all started.
And she wants to go right now. So she needs sleep, but she wants to go right now. And she starts freaking out in a little bit. And then Father Khatri is back fucking with Boyd. That's the way I take it. I don't see this as actual Father Khatri. I see this as a vision that the town is making Boyd see, because he even asked him, he's like, "So what are you?" And he's like, "I can't answer that for you, Boyd." He's making a memory board. They just bury the people. They don't have tombstones or anything to memorize the people with, even though his wife has one that we saw in season 1. She does have one, but they want kind of a memory board for everyone who has passed in the town.
We should have a place for the names.
He tells him about the plan that he's going to trap one in a house, put the talisman up, and he's like, "You think that's going to work?" And then Boyd's like, "You know what?
I think better when I work with my hands. So leave me the fuck alone."
So then Victor goes to see Sarah. He sees she's trying to fix the thing that Kenny broke that her brother gave to her, and he wants to build a fort and tell her a story. And then Tilly, since she saw Fatima, she goes to see her, and she's like, "Yo, I used to lick eggshells."
I used to lick the inside of eggshells.
Trying to make her feel better about herself. And she's like, "I used to take them out of the trash.
I would even sneak them from the garbage when my husband wasn't looking."
She's worried about what people will think Fatima is, and she can't tell Ellis how scared she is. What if something's wrong? She was never supposed to be able to conceive. She just wants the baby to be okay. So Tilly's like,
"Let's find out."
Then Henry and Tabitha are in the car, and the song that was playing on the tape was Jim and Tabitha's song, which was also Miranda's favorite song. In this moment, Tabitha's starting to be like, "This is all too weird. This doesn't make sense." And then the crew are putting together crops, and I love the scene when they're talking shit on Jade, and he's like,
"You're gonna whisper? You should try actually whispering."
I fucking love Jade, dude. So he heads off, and he sees a man with a knife in his eye, and then it's gone. So then Kenny and Christy see Jade and Dale fighting, and I don't even know how Dale didn't get in trouble for stabbing Ellis, but that's a whole nother story for another day. Jade's like, "Yo, I need to head back to town." He runs off. Christy follows, and then Christy's the one that gets caught in the trap.
I should be back at the bar trying to figure out how to...
And I'm like, no, she's one of my favorite characters. Please, nothing happen to Christy. So Jade and Kenny are fighting, and Christy's like, "Can you guys please focus on this trap that's on my ankle right now?" They're like, "All right, we're going to try to do that." And Elgin is finally sleeping.
Glad he's finally getting some rest.
Tilly brings up that it's tarot cards that she wants to do, and it pisses Fatima off.
I opened up to you. I confided in you.
She talks her into it, and she goes, "The cards told me about my cancer. They told me about this town. I just didn't realize it at the time." She does the whole spiel. She makes her shuffle. She lays out the cards, and she's like, "All right, ask her questions." And she goes, "Is my baby okay?" And then a crow smacks into the window. And then another crow breaks through the window and goes all through the house and breaks shit. What the hell was that? And then Jade gets the metal rods from those scarecrow looking things. I don't know what else to call them. So it works. She's set free, but her ankle is dislocated. She tells them what to do. And then while this is happening, Jade sees a man drinking blood from a skull. It was the same man he saw before. And then Kenny pops her ankle back into place and they get her to safety. And then Randall, he sees cicadas, but he was just imagining it. Boyd walks in and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? And Boyd wants to switch spots for the night. He wants him to go stay in the sheriff's spot and Boyd wants to stay in the bus.
Because I want to watch our friends when they come out of the woods tonight. See what they're up to.
And this is all with his plan to try and trap one of them. But they're going to have to deal with what happens after this scene because this shit's crazy. Henry and Tabitha are headed to the bottle tree and then she finds the bracelet that she found in the town that she lost before.
I made this for my husband a long time ago.
But he goes, no, Miranda made that for me. It's like the same one though. And then Tabitha goes, all right, this is all fake, right? I'm not actually in Camden, Maine. What happens if I get out of the car? Do I end up back in the hospital? Do I have to keep playing your sick fucking game, Henry? What's going on? And then they get into a fucking car crash because Henry's like, no, we're going to the tree. They end up in an ambulance. And then the driver of the ambulance slows down the ambulance because he sees a fallen tree in the middle of the road, and they are back in the town. And now Henry is there, so Henry will see his son Victor again very soon. In season 3, episode 4 of From, called There and Back Again, the ambulance is there. You know, they're trying to communicate with the outside world, and they're just fucked, and Tabitha knows it. And she's trying to be like,
It's all gonna work. It's gonna be okay. We'll get you back inside.
we're not getting out of this. Like, listen to me, listen to me. The cop annoyed me this whole episode. So the phone rings again. Ethan answers this time. No, it's Thomas again.
It's Thomas.
And he knows about Tabitha. So they literally have like an eye in the sky. They know everything at all times. Then Jim gets on the phone and he's like, I've had enough of this shit. And he smashes the phone. So there you go. No more phone calls from Thomas. He wants to know what Thomas told him. And he tells him, he's like,
Mom's in trouble. She's in an ambulance.
There's an ambulance. Your mom's in it. So yeah. He gets that information. Then we see the colony house and they're all looking at the dead crow like, well, you do it. You do it. I'm not fucking with that thing. Are you kidding me? A fucking crazy dead crow. There could be spirits inside. I'm not touching it. So they're all trying to argue about it. Elgin's just shook.
Hey, you all right?
I'm good.
And then someone gives Tilly shit for the tarot cards.
Do you think it's really smart to do tarot readings in a place like this?
And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, God, poor Tilly. So Marielle's with Fatima. She's worried about Christy at the lake, obviously. And then she's like, don't worry. They have shelter. They have the talisman. That's all they need. So they're good. So then we see Victor and Sarah, which I was super interested to see where this storyline was going this episode. And then Victor made a joke about her murdering her brother, Nathan.
They died, just like Nathan, except I didn't murder them.
So he has to remember, right? His mother tried to save everyone, but she died, and then everyone died. Literally, everybody that was at the town at that point died. So he's like, I need to remember everything's changing. It shouldn't be snowing. It never snowed before, but we have to go to the basement. That's where we tell these types of stories. So they go to the basement. So the ambulance is driving in circles. Tabitha's trying to explain. They're not listening, of course. And Boyd is looking for the monsters, but Randall stayed. He's like, look, man, if you knew the shit I've seen, and I thought he was about to tell him about the cicadas, you would understand why I don't want to go in the sheriff's station and get a nap. If there's something that can get us out of here and you're trying to trap one of them, I want to see and I want to help. So good for Randall. He says,
But here just talks about how afraid they are of dying. Well, I don't think that's the worst thing that can happen to you here.
So then we see Chrissy and Kenny in one of the lake huts, and then we notice Jade is there too.
Maybe talk in the morning.
He's like fucking him up. So he gets up, he starts drinking, and he's like,
You guys want to hear something crazy?
let's go. They start to communicate, right? Good shit, Jade. Good stuff telling people what you saw. So then Victor again, the night everyone died, he was in that cellar that we've seen multiple times, and his sister was supposed to be there too, but she didn't listen, and he stayed until morning, and then he came out and see literally everyone dead. That's crazy for a young ass Victor to experience that, where everyone died. So he's like, bodies everywhere. Then I saw the boy in white. He's my friend, actually. He told me, since I can't bury them all, just to gather things precious to them instead, and that's what he has in his little suitcase, right? And then another great Victor line.
You're the scariest person here, so it won't scare you.
She should have been put in the box, and she should be dead by now, so she's just gonna take whatever. Randall's like, yo, something's wrong. I'm out here. I don't have blinds and curtains like all you guys, so I'm forced to watch these things all night, and they have patterns. The nurse lady usually comes to me first, taps on my window, hums a little bit. There's usually people here, and they're not out here. Something's up. This isn't normal. So the ambulance finally gets to town, and Tabitha's like, look, let's go inside. Let's go inside. And they're all just like, oh, you're fucking crazy. We got to keep going to the highway. So then Boyd and Randall see it. Boyd runs out, but they blew right by. And then the ambulance sees a dead body.
Got a body in the road.
And Tabitha's like, that's not a person. Don't go outside. And of course, the medics go outside and they both get fucking killed immediately. Then Acosta decides she wants to be the hero and she goes outside, and then she starts shooting them. Obviously, nothing shooting. You can't shoot them. We know this by now. So then she's like panicking and she starts running, and Henry and Tabitha are fucked. They're like stuck. So then we see Jim. He's inside with Boyd at the time. And he's like, yo, if there's a chance my wife's outside, I'm going. You can do what you want. Ethan heard this shit, these rumors that she's going to be in an ambulance. So I'm going to go check it out. He goes, he opens the door. He sees it's her. Holy shit. You're cuffed to the side of this ambulance. What the fuck are we going to do? And then Randall's like, yo, there's a toolkit in the bus. I'll go get it. So then the cop is running towards Colony House and bathroom bitch Nikki gets shot through the window. So the cop bangs on Colony House to open it up and they let her in. There was no real pushback like there was in season 1, which I liked. So Randall got the tool bag. He's surrounded. He tries to use the talisman as like a cross to a vampire.
Back. I said, get the fuck back!
Oh, sweetie, it doesn't work that way.
And then the monsters are just fucking with Boyd, man. He's looking for the keys. They don't want to kill Boyd, the monsters. They don't. They want to fuck with him. So they're like,
You looking for these? Take them.
And they're like, yeah, you can have the keys and take off, but we keep Randall. So he's fucked.
We get to keep Randall, though.
Marielle's working on Nikki. She pulls out the bullet, but, that doesn't go well later. Boyd pulls up with the ambulance to Colony House. They get inside, and Tabitha goes to the cop and like,
I fucking told you.
Told you. And then Tilly says, poor girl, to Elgin about Fatima. And then Elgin sees the ghost while he's not sleeping this time. And he's like, am I awake? Am I awake? He follows her. And then she says, help me. Then Jade, we go back to him. He told them all everything that he saw with last episode. So I wrote down, nice communication. Good job. And they're like, how long has this been happening? He said, I've been hallucinating pretty much since I got here. And then he shows them the notebook with the symbol. And then Kenny says, yo, Tin Chen really liked you. And then they hear thudding. And then Victor is continuing with his story. We see him in the past grabbing items off the dead, but he's like, nothing from Christopher. And in my mind, Christopher is the new Jade, or Jade is the new Christopher. And then Victor remembers what he's missing.
I know what's missing. His name was Jasper.
Jasper, the doll. We'll come back to that in just a second. And Tabitha tells Jim what she went through, how she tried. What if this was our only chance to go home? He's like, don't worry, you're back, you're safe. We'll figure this out. Trying to just calm her down in this moment. And then we see Nikki died. And then Boyd's all pissed. He goes to the cop.
You see what you've done? What is wrong with you, officer?
And Donna's like, cut the shit out. She breaks it up. Let's go fucking talk. And then she just breaks down crying. So then we see more about Jasper. He belonged to Christopher. And again, he would make them all laugh and he changed. And then we see a scene of him talking to Jasper and Jasper talking back. So what the fuck was that about? That blew my mind. And he's like, yo, Jasper's the key. We got to go find this doll and then we'll start to figure shit out. Something real quick with Fatima. She wanted to spend some time with Nikki dead because she was mean to Nikki before she died. And then she starts licking her blood. When you're licking blood from a dead body, that's a whole different level of creepy. So we see Randall's body was put on the ambulance, but he wakes up. Episode 5 of From, called The Light of Day. So they bring Randall inside. And of course, he would be pissed at Boyd for leaving him in the middle of the street surrounded by the creatures. But Boyd did what he had to do to save the others. But Randall's still pissed. So Christy and Kenny and Jade show back up to the clinic. And, Christy's got her ankle that's all fucked up. So she needs help on that. And they go, well, where's the food? And he's like, well, Dale and the others are bringing it back. We had to come here because Christy. And then they bring up the town meeting. So we'll talk about that when that comes up. Didn't go too well, but it was cool that they tried it. And then Mary tells them that Tabitha is back. And Jade's like, huh?
What?
So he runs off and he wants answers. He's like, holy shit, I got to go talk to her. And then we see Victor and Sarah. They're like, all right, we need supplies if we're going to go and get Jasper to make sure we don't get lost and shit like that. And then Victor finds out what happened. And then Donna's like, but there's one more thing I got to tell you. Your dad's here. And he freaks out.
No. Victor? No!
Victor and Sarah were supposed to go down to the tunnels to get Jasper, but now he can't do it because of the news that he just learned about his dad. So he lets Sarah know in the only way Victor can.
Donna said my dad is here.
What? How?
It doesn't matter. You should go home.
We'll get Jasper later. And then Tabitha, she's back with her family for the first time. And then Jade busts in the door.
I need to talk to you.
Hey, back off.
No.
Jim, it's okay. It's okay.
I want to know everything. Can we get back to the lighthouse? Is that even possible? Or back to the tree? And then Jim goes,
There is nothing to see. Oh, you mean besides the magic tree?
So Jade makes some good points, and then he says, fuck the town meeting, because they bring that up. He's like, fuck that, we got bigger shit to deal with. Let's go look for that tree. They go to the tree later, which turns out to be crazy, so we'll talk about it. What is that other presence out in the woods by the lake, right? So Kenny tells Boyd about it.
Walking around outside the cabins at night.
And Boyd was like, oh, if it's just moving around, it's not a big deal. Kenny's kind of like, nah, there's something. And then Kenny's like, well, why didn't they just kill Randall? And Boyd's like, well, I think they're trying to send us a message. You know, we think we're safe during the day. And now this is a reminder that, yo, you're not safe. And then this is the last time we see Randall this episode. Christy and Mary are talking. They hear him groaning and they go to check on him. And Boyd and Kenny want to talk to him. And they go,
Boyd, I just want to help.
I understand that.
So that's the last time we see him this episode. Donna's showing Henry Victor's room. And he was like,
it's the hardest part. That little bit of hope.
That I thought they might come back one day. So it was easier to tell myself that they died. No wonder he doesn't want to talk to me.
What kind of man gives up on his family?
He's dealing with his own shit. So you're good. And they make up. So it's fine. So it's meeting time. Boyd kicks off the meeting and they want to know where the hell Tabitha is, which is a good question. Dale's being Dale, being a dickhead.
Nothing was Tabitha.
And then she shows up and she talks about the faraway trees. Real quickly, we see Julie go to Colony House and we have a flashback of her and Fatima when she was showing her the view. Then she steals some weed and Elgin is there, almost smokes the shit out of her.
Hey.
And then we see Victor before we go back to the meeting. And he's like, I never drew pictures of my dad. I drew pictures of the things I saw. What's he going to think when he sees me? And Sarah tries to console him.
You're really bad at this.
Victor just lays shots on Sarah nonstop shooting that shit at Sarah. It's hilarious.
Sorry.
She's like, listen, I would give up everything to feel like a good person again. So she's trying to help him. She does end up helping him, I guess, so it works out. Elgin tells Julie about the kimono lady. He's like, I thought she was going to hurt me at first, but now I'm not sure because she asked for my help. Back to the meeting. This part made me laugh. So
we're out there in the real world where people can help. How could you not take advantage of that?
And she's like, no one would have believed me, They all would have thought I was crazy. The cop tries to stand up for her, and then they're like, you almost killed someone. You did kill someone. Why are you even here?
What is she even doing here? She killed someone last night.
And then Dale has the fucking nerve to talk about accidents.
That was an accident.
Oh, yeah, sure. Everything's an accident unless it's somebody that you and Queen Bee here don't like.
You stabbed Ellis, bro. That was ridiculous when he was the one to speak up about accidents. Shut the fuck up. You stabbed Ellis and almost killed him. You're dead now, so I feel bad, but come on, dude. So they're all pissed that she didn't do anything to help. She says sorry and she walks out. And Boyd's like, this is a good thing. Someone got out, There's a way out, possibly. And they're all like, well, okay, well, let's go to the tree. And Fatima speaks up. And then Ellis has her back. She went through a tree and she went home. Why can't we just try that? Let's all line up and try that. And he's like,
I went through one of those trees, and you know where I ended up? In a chimney, underground.
It's not that simple. And no one wants to hear that. They're all just, we want to go there. And Kenny's like, it wasn't even the tree that got her out. It was the lighthouse. And then they're like, so let's find that.
Great. Let's just get to the lighthouse, and then we'll go home.
So everybody's kind of murmuring, and it's not really going well. And everyone's pissed. Dale's pissed. Fucking Dale. That meeting did not go well whatsoever. Tabitha's home and she's like, look, I'll take you to the tree. I'll take you. And then Jim talks to her, being Jim. He's being fucking annoying as shit this episode. Tabitha's like, I'm not going to go in. I'm just going to show him where it's at. And he's like, all right, fine. But Ethan stays home. That's the deal. Fine. Elgin and Julie, they're flirting more. They're bonding over old clothes in storage. They find a camera. They take pictures of themselves. Acosta, she thanks Boyd and she's like, I know how to help. Let's give the town something else to focus on other than the tree. And he's like, slow your roll, bitch.
You let me worry about how to take care of my goddamn town.
We're not cool. I had your back in the meeting. We're not cool. Got it? Clear? Good. Fatima sneaks off. She's eating more rotten food. And then finally, Ellis catches her. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? And then she shows him the rotten food. She's like, this is the only thing I can eat. Something's wrong with the baby. Something's going on. So now they talk. Henry points out to Ethan, which is a great call. I wish I would have said this earlier.
There's a motel sign here. Where's the motel?
Yeah, I never thought of that before. And then he's like, hey, let's go feed the animals. And he's talking about Victor, calls him his best friend. He's like, listen, he just gets grumpy sometimes. He's not mad at you. He's not upset with you. Just give him his time. He's Victor. He'll be fine. And then Victor spots him. And then Henry spots Victor. They walk over. They have a nice hug. They have a nice cry.
Good.
Very emotional moment. They're reunited. This is the big scene, right? Tabitha and Jade are at the bottle tree. All the papers have 4 numbers on it.
This one says 2659.
And he's like, hey, I saw the Ankui kids, and then I saw the symbol, and I've been going crazy about it. The kids were all laid out on slabs of stone, repeating the word. And she's like, yeah, Ankui, right? He's like, yeah, that's what it was. And then he talks about the numbers.
It only looks like chaos until you understand the pattern.
We have to understand the pattern, and we'll figure it out. He thinks these numbers mean something. I'm sure they do. So Dale shows up. I'm the hero, guys. They're all like, don't go in the tree. You don't want to do it.
Dale, hey, Dale.
He's like, trust me, you'll thank me later.
It's okay. You guys can thank me later.
He hops in the tree. They look. He's gone. And then we hear people screaming. He's trapped in the cement of the pool, just barely popping out his face and his leg. Jeez, that was creepy as shit. And he's slowly dying. Boyd contemplates shooting him to put him out of his misery, but he dies. And then Donna shows up, her real life husband. I'm sad that it happened this way, but there you go. There you have it. Episode 6 of From, called Scar Tissue, starts off with Tabitha. It turns out she had a nightmare and she's feeling guilty. It's a common thread throughout this whole episode. She's like, you know what? Maybe they were right. Maybe I should have did more when I was on the outside world. And she has this going through the whole episode. And then how about Jim? He's being Mr. Nice Guy at first. And then he literally says, all right, you want me to be the bad guy? And then he brings up the divorce. Yeah, so he brings that up. They start screaming at each other. He's like, you left when you wanted to leave when Thomas died. You always want to do things on your own. That's why you didn't want me to come with you to the tree to free the kids or whatever the hell you were doing. You always want to be on your own. And then they start screaming. And yeah, Julie hears it. And it turns out Jim left to get more food at that lake they've been going to. Something comes up with that lake with those figures that Tabitha saw when she was a kid. We'll talk about later. Interesting stuff. So Julie heard the fight and she's like, at least some things are getting back to normal. Because apparently they fought a lot in real life. So Boyd and Jade, they're talking about the lighthouse. And Boyd's like, I thought you brought me here for something like important. What are you doing? He doesn't quite understand what Jade is doing. And he's like, what if there's a dimensional rift that Tabitha went through? He's throwing out all these theories, right? He really doesn't know, and he's trying to piece anything together to make sense of it, right? So he says the bottle tree was important to Miranda. It has to be important to us. She was the only person that had a connection to this place before she arrived. We find out that's not true later. And Boyd says, what about the other bottle tree? And Jade's like, huh? There's another bottle tree? What are you talking about? You got to show me this tree. So that's crazy. And he's like, well, this one didn't have a portal. He's like, I need to see this. Boyd points out he pulled down a note that had 1864 on it. Boyd goes to see Randall. He still kind of feels bad about leaving him on his own. Doesn't talk to him yet. Christy spots him and says he's doing better. And she's like, hey, that ambulance was fully stocked. We got a fucking ultrasound machine. You got to go tell Fatima. He's like, all right, let's go. That's cool. And then we see Fatima and she's talking with Ellis. And he's like, yo, we got to go to Christy. We got to talk about what you're doing. And she's like, I really don't want everyone to know I'm eating rotten food. And people are going to be scared of me. You're scared of me right now. He's like, I'm not scared of you. I'm just concerned. This is when Boyd knocks and he immediately senses something wrong. So we'll come back to that scene in a second. And then Tabitha goes to see Donna down. What the hell is she doing when she was throwing the rocks down? But it makes sense later. She's like, basically it's like a shrine to Dale, I guess. They talk about her kids and she's like, look, your kids just need you back. It doesn't matter about anything that happened. They just need you back. Donna's trying to comfort her. She's really good in this scene. And she said, well, what if I wasted my opportunity of being out there? Like, she still feels bad about this. And then they hug. A common thread throughout this episode. She says it a few times. She feels bad, but I honestly think there was nothing more she could have done. And then Henry and Victor, they're headed towards the tunnel. And he says, what I'm going to do is going to save everyone. He thinks Jasper's the key. Jade thinks the bottle tree is the key. Everybody thinks they found the key to solve everything, right? That's like the point of this show. Everybody wants to solve it and be the hero to save everyone. Victor tells Henry he shouldn't come with him. And he's like, I already lost you once. I'm not losing you again. We're doing this together. So they head inside. So Boyd's talking to Fatima and Ellis. They told Boyd about what's going on with the rotten food. And he's like, look, guys, there's an ultrasound machine. That's what I came here to tell you. She doesn't want to go. She's like, we'll go tomorrow. And Ellis is like, we can't just hope it's going to get better. We need to see what's going on. So Ellis is being the mind of reason right now. Fatima's just scared, and that's fine. So they're going to go. Randall is awake. Mary wants to change bandages. And he has some pretty gnarly cuts on his face, dude. That shit was gross. So he's like, I want to see it. So he gets a mirror, looks at it, barely looks at it, puts the mirror down. Victor and Henry, they're back in the tunnel. They're back in the tunnels. He says, Jasper should be right here. Last time I was down here, he was here. And he's like, well, we need to go outside and regroup. He's like, no. I know where I am. He should be right here. This is where I saw him. all right, we need to go deeper. And then that's when I get creeped out, when they go deeper. Fatima agreed to the ultrasound and Elgin takes her picture. Jade is talking to dead Tom. Yo, first of all, I miss Tom. Second of all, they did him dirty when he died. It was like not a big deal. So Tom talks about Jade's visions. Jade is saying that these visions have to mean something. Miranda's visions specifically about the bottle tree. And he's like, what about your visions? You've been seeing crazy shit in the Civil War guy. He's like, that's different. That's different. He's like, well, guess what? It's funny. He says, if you want to beat this place, sober up. And then he kind of screams at him. There's a nicer way you could have made your point as Tom vanished. And then Ethan and Tabitha are talking as she hears something upstairs and she sees the Aunt Cooey kids. She's like, look, I tried to help you guys. You know, I'm a friend. She's freaking out. She keeps saying, no. Ethan walks upstairs and they disappear. Then, you know, Donna's finishing up Dale's little shrine thing. And she goes, he deserved more than this. And Kenny says, no, this is dignity. You know, this is nice. And he says, hey, I want to move to Colony House. My mother would have wanted that house is for a family. My mother would have wanted them to have it after everything that happened. So I don't really fit there anymore. He goes, you don't have those sex parties anymore, do you? That's funny. So that's nice. Kenny's going to move to Colony House. It's going to be cool to see him and interact with those characters. Ethan and Tabitha go see Jade to help with his puzzle, which got more interested. He tells them about the second bottle tree and how all the numbers are the same. Second numbers on the second bottle tree are in cursive, but they're the same numbers. And some of the numbers are repeated over and over again. And he's convinced somewhere in there is a key to understanding everything. And Randall's good to go at first. He's given directions on how to take care of his face. And he talks about how when they were chained to the wall, and she really doesn't want to talk about it. He's like, what if it's not over? And she's like, oh, stop. And he's like, yo, you get to pretend that things are okay. I'm in that bus. That shit's scary as fuck. I have to look at these monsters all night long. I barely sleep. That sucks. And she's like, well, don't go back. You know, stay here. I'll talk to Christy. We got room. You can move in here. So he's like, all right, cool. Henry and Victor. All right. So he keeps placing these toy soldiers down so he doesn't so they don't get lost. But he only has like one left, right? And then they see the room where Jasper's at. And then they see the monsters sleeping. Holy shit. He takes Jasper. And then Henry sees something that belonged to Miranda and he starts freaking out, which wakes the monsters up. The monster goes, hey, you keep coming down here. You're going to have to stay. Henry and Victor get to Victor's hideout. And he goes, and Henry's like, why do they have Miranda's sweater or her item? And he's like, they like to take things. I don't know. That's what they do. Don't worry about it. He's like, I used to hide in here. And that upsets Henry because he was like, when you were alone. He's like, it's all good. We got Jasper. He knows things. We have to make him tell his story again. He told a story to Christopher. He's got to talk. And Henry's like, but that's just a toy. He's like, oh, he'll talk. All right, ultrasound time. She doesn't see anything at all. Says, you're not pregnant. Fatima freaks out. That can't be right. Check again. So they check again. They say, look, right here, there should be a baby the size of an acorn. There's nothing there. And then check somewhere else. Mary's like, there's nowhere else to check. You're not pregnant, lady. You're not pregnant. And then she's like, well, what the hell? There's something in me. You got to find it. What's going on? So Ellis says, speak up. It's time to talk to them about everything that's going on. So they do, but we don't see that scene. Elgin is hanging up the Polaroids, right? And Fatima's picture, for a moment anyway, has the kimono lady in it. Then he sees a vision of her and she's like, help me. I can save you. I can help save everyone. I can get everyone back home. He snaps out of it and she's not in the picture anymore. Ethan and Jade are trying to figure out the pattern of the numbers. Jade tries to calm down Tabitha and says, the Aunt Cooey kids, they just want your help, right? So they're not trying to hurt you. So calm down. And she's basing this off of what Miranda said, someone who died 40 years ago. So what's up with that? And then we see what I thought was a flashback of Tabitha in the town as a child. Turns out maybe to be a dream. Maybe she was in the town as a child. That's also possible because when she saw the scarecrow looking things, that brought out a memory. And she's like, 3 red rocks in a circle. Did you see that? How do you know about that? Miranda wasn't the only one to have visions of this place before coming. I did too. I just didn't know it yet. Season 3, episode 7 of From, called These Fragile Lives. This episode is crazy, especially the ending. That was insane. It starts off with Fatima, a heavy Fatima episode, and she's talking to Christy about her cravings. And Christy's like, look, you're going through this thing where your body believes it's pregnant, but you're not actually pregnant. She's like, it wasn't so long ago that Boyd thought he had worms under his skin that no one else could see. She's like, I am pregnant. I can feel it.
I am pregnant. It's still there. I can feel it.
And then she storms out, and Mary's like, look, I'll go to Colony House. I'll get an IV started on her. I'll go help her out, even though she doesn't want to help at this time. And then we get the scene where Christy has no idea how to help her. And Boyd says,
then do your fucking job and figure it out.
And then we see Victor. He's roughing up Jasper, trying to get him to talk. You need to talk to me. It's so funny. I love it. And then Henry walks in. He's like, I can hear you from downstairs. You can't keep doing this. What's going on? And he's like, he needs to tell me what he said. I don't know what to tell you, Dad. This is what I'm doing. So deal with it. Then Victor goes to Sarah, and he wants to go in her basement because that's where secrets are told. And he thinks that Jasper will be able to tell the secrets in the basement. And then Elgin made Fatima a little baby carousel to put on top of a crib. That's very sweet. And then the camera goes off, and I wrote, what is on that picture? We see it later. We'll come back to it. Then Mary's trying to calm down Fatima. She's just pissed off. She's like, it's making me eat garbage. And then Ellis walks in. Ellis is like, look, Mary just cares. She's trying to help. She's like, why is no one listening to what I'm saying? I'm not crazy. Something's wrong with me. And look, I've been measuring my belly. I'm getting bigger. Why would I be getting bigger if I wasn't pregnant? And he's just like, oh God, what the fuck am I supposed to do in this situation? And she's like, my cravings are stronger. They're getting stronger every day. If this baby isn't real, that means it's me. Something's going on with me. And then Donna's talking to Boyd, and she compares Fatima to Abby. And Boyd's like, that's fair. I thought it would piss him off, but it really didn't. He was like, yeah, that's fair. And then Donna's like, look, if she's near the way Abby was, we need to find a way to bring her back ASAP. And by the way, I don't want her or Ellis at Colony House. It's not safe. Fair. Totally fair. He's like, fine. I'll find room at the sheriff's station. And she's like, oh, you don't have to do it right away. He's like, I get it. You're good. You don't have to explain anymore. You're good. We're cool. And he walks off. So that was nice. And then Jim is by the lake, and they talk about what they heard again. And we still don't get that answer of what the hell that is that goes around those cabins by the lake at night. It's some kind of other creature than the monsters that we see on screen. And then Tabitha, Jade, and Ethan show up. My favorite trio. We'll come back to that in a second because that scene is amazing. Elgin went to the door. The cellar door was on the picture. So he goes and he opens it up. He goes in. Doesn't see anything at first, and then he hears knocking. Then he hears more knocking, and I'm like, oh God. So he moves the cabinet over to see a red door. But that's probably a good hiding spot when they didn't have the talisman. So he goes in, creepy as fuck. We'll come back to that. Also, Kenny and Acosta are in the diner. This scene made me laugh. She goes, what kind of psycho built this place? Why is there a diner, a post office that is a sheriff's station? What the fuck?
You want me to go over them one at a time, or you want me?
I want to know why no one's asking these questions.
He's like, yeah, what do you want me to do? You want some tea? Here you go. I'll give you some tea. And then they talk later back to the lake. Jade is taking notes. He's like, oh my God, this is great. I'm going to figure something out. I'm so excited. And Jim is being Jim. He's like, look, you had a dream. You had a dream. That's all it was. So she's like, look, I had this dream over and over for months. It has to mean something. The totems were exactly the same. So then Jim accepts it and that she needs to know. So he's like, all right, okay, you're cool. Let's talk. So then Julie and Randall are out for a stroll. He wants to show her something, which is ultimately how to drive. And that scene is pretty wild. We'll come back to that too. And then Kenny is talking to Acosta. And he's like, people always come in. They always think there are going to be ones to figure it out. Give it some time. It'll pass. She's like, I'm not built that way, son. That's not how I roll. So then Kenny's like, look, I've had this combo before. I've even been on the other side of this conversation. I get it. You feel afraid. And he's like, every theory you've had, someone else has had before you. Adapt or lose your mind. That's your two options. And then she finds out that both of his parents were killed here. She feels very bad. They talk about the talismans. And then she's like, oh, so that's why Boyd acts like a god around here. She hates Boyd because why? Because he was right? Because you killed someone? Come on, why do you hate Boyd? She's always in her cop uniform. So Kenny's like, you can get some fresh clothes and change, right? Be more comfortable. I thought that was hilarious. Are you just always going to be in those clothes? Just play the cop role forever? She's like, I don't plan on getting comfy, homie. And then the music plays. And he's like, yeah, that happens sometimes. And how about the song that was playing? Ooh, child, things are going to get easier. The place is just fucking with them, dude. So good. I love it. Love this show so much. She's pissed off. She leaves. And then Bacta, who was the bus driver, walks in. And she has an idea that she wants to run by Kenny. She wants to reopen the diner. So that's going to be her new character arc where she runs the diner, which is cool. People need that sense of calm, a place to go and relax and eat food and have a good time. So that's nice for the town that she's going to reopen the diner. Back to Elgin, he sees a rotted body and then he sees the Komodo lady and he says, is this what really happens? And then Acosta goes to see Boyd, wants her gun back. And he's like, look, you killed someone. You need to prove yourself before I can trust you. She's like, I'm a real cop. Shows the badge. How long you been a cop? A couple days? That's not important. What's important is I'm a real cop and you're going around parading like you're the sheriff god. I'm a real cop. You need to listen to me. You need to give me my gun back. So she's pissed. They're at a head right now. She then says he's been doing a shit job because he's like, my job is to keep people safe. And she's like, well, people are dying. You're doing a shit job. And then she doubles down.
Give me my gun.
So he goes, oh, you want your gun? You want your gun? Grabs the gun, takes out all the bullets, gives her the gun. You can have the bullets when you prove yourself to me. But if you step foot in here again without my permission, we're going to have a problem. And she's like, okay. All right, sure we will. All right, Donna and Henry at the bar. She pours him a drink. They start drinking, and then he goes, look, I had a thought earlier today that it would have been easier if I never came here, if Tabitha never found me, and it was just easier thinking that all my kids and my wife were dead. And what kind of father says that? But it was only for a second. He's kind of upset. So he has all this guilt, right? And I don't know why they're showing this unless they're setting him up to get killed. And then Tabitha sees the red stones and she says, I remember this feeling from the fear when I was running and I hid behind this rock. This is the rock that I hid behind. And they were like, then what? She's like, then I would look up and then I'd wake up every time. It would be the same. And this gives Jade a thought, and he's loving this. If seeing this place before, that means you never had a chance. If fate exists, you were destined to come here. You were always going to end up here, just like Miranda. Poor Tilly shows up to talk to Ellis, and she's like, look, I'm here if you need me. She walks away, and he goes, hey, they had an ultrasound machine. There's no baby. There's something inside of her that a machine can't see, maybe, or this place broke her. And he's like, by the way, are you afraid of dying? And she goes on this whole speech. I was at first, but then I realized how small life is. So no, I'm not afraid of dying. Not anymore. You know, I'm an old lady with cancer and I like a good love story. So I'm just rooting for you two and I'm here if you need me. The IV on Fatima is giving her some kind of red mark on her arm. And then her stomach starts to morph. She starts screaming, help, help, help. What the hell was that all about? But then Ellis walks in the room and nothing's going on. And then Randall is driving with Julie. And then she wants her turn to drive. But then he sees the cicadas again. And he wipes them off of the window with the window wipers.
Yeah, fuck you.
What are you doing?
And that was so funny. He's like, yeah, I got you, motherfucker. But no, he didn't because they keep coming. He stops, gets out of the van. And then Ellis, he doesn't know what to do. So he tries to break into the clinic and steal powerful antipsychotics. But she's like, it could make things a lot worse. And Boyd's like, give them back. He does. And then he walks outside. Dad, what am I supposed to do? I don't know how I'm supposed to help her. Which nightmare am I supposed to be afraid of? She's falling apart and I don't know how to help her. And then they hug. And it's like, yeah, I feel for you, Boyd. You don't know how to help your son. He doesn't know how to help his woman. All right, last two scenes, guys. Julie finds Randall. Why did you just run off? And he's like, oh, we'll talk about it later. Do you feel that? We should go see what that is. And she wanted to go see it. And she's like, you feel it too, don't you? He's like, I don't feel shit. But he probably did. And they don't go. Fatima goes to find some rotten food, but doesn't eat it. Has more pain in her stomach. And then Tilly shows up trying to help. Poor fucking Tilly. She's like, get the hell away from me. Stabs her in the fucking heart. Jesus Christ. I was so upset. I saw it coming from a mile away. As soon as she walked in that room, I'm like, you're dead, lady. Stabs her in the heart.
You have to run.
So even when she's dying, she's looking out for her. Like, don't get caught. You killed me, but it's cool. R.I.P. Tilly. I'm very upset that she got killed by Fatima this episode. God damn it, Fatima. She's falling apart. Season 3, episode 8 of From, called Thresholds. So it starts off, Boyd is with Fatima, and he knows. He knows what happened. I mean, he finds out. She tells him what happened.
I didn't want to do it. There was nothing I could do.
But he's like, at first, all right, we'll figure this shit out. I'm going to keep it a secret.
We're going to figure out how we move forward.
You know, she explains what happened. You know, she's like, I felt rage. The thing inside me made me do it. I didn't want to, but I couldn't help myself. You know, I didn't want it to happen, but I'm sorry. And this is the situation that I'm in. And he's like, well, look.
Listen, we're going to have to let someone find her.
And, you know, we'll try to figure it out. You stay here. You stay put in this little shack in the woods that they found. So they put a talisman up. And the plan at first is for her to stay there. Obviously, that doesn't happen at the end. We see what happens with Elgin and everything, but that was the plan for now. So then Jade, he's looking at a bottle of vodka. I think he has what Tom said in the back of his mind, sober up, so he doesn't drink. And then Henry's there, and he's like, who the fuck are you? Jade cracks me the fuck up, man. Henry's like, well, I need to drink, and I need some company, so he pours himself a drink of vodka, and then Tilly is found.
It's Tilly!
And then the camera goes off. And then Elgin looks at it. And then Julie wants to go back to the place. She's talking to Randall, and Randall's like, you're out of your fucking mind. Why would you want to go back there? What if it makes it worse?
There is nothing here that wants to help us, okay? Nothing. So stay the fuck away from that place.
She doesn't listen. She goes back with Ethan later on. And then Ellis wants to tell the truth. And Boyd's like, nah, bro, we're not doing that. And then Ellis is like, well, what if she goes in the box? And Boyd's, I'm not going to let that happen. That will not happen. And then Boyd finally goes to Tilly's body, and Acosta and Kenny are there. He's like, all right, well, let's talk to the people. Let's get the interview started. Let's find out who did this, even though he knows who did this. And they're like, well, obviously it's Sarah. Everybody thinks it's Sarah. And even if it's not Sarah, people are going to say it was her. So if we don't find out who it is, it's Sarah. That's the deal. And that's what Donna was saying, because she wants to talk to Sarah right now.
This is something that people are going to have to blame someone for.
Get that over with, because people are just going to blame her anyway. Sarah's trying to talk like Jasper, and Victor's just freaking out. You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right.
God, I told you it doesn't sound like that, Sarah.
Then Jim, so he's telling Tabitha about Thomas calling, but they can't talk about it much because Sarah knocks and says, Victor wants to talk to you, Tabitha, so can you please come with me? He's in my basement. So she does, and Victor thinks Tabitha is the one that can make Jasper talk, but it might not matter anymore because of his memories, so maybe Jasper doesn't matter. We'll talk about it when we get to it. He explains how he heard Jasper tell Chris things that he needs to remember, which he can't remember, which he does later. So we'll get into that. It's very interesting stuff. Jolie checks on Ethan. You want to see something cool? They go on a little journey, which is crazy what happens with Julie. So then Henry is telling Jade about his wife's visions. How can you figure it out when so many smart people here have tried it before? And Jade says,
I'm smarter.
Believe in yourself. I love it. And then Jim comes in, calls out Jade for bringing his wife and his kid out there. She doesn't need you filling her head with nonsense. And he's like,
filling her head with ideas? What is she, 9?
She's a grown woman. She came to me. She saw these drawings and wanted to go out there. If you have a problem with me going somewhere with your wife, talk to her about it. I'm not the issue here, dude.
Get your fucking hands off me.
Ellis meets Fatima in the shack, says, we are stronger than this. And by the way, I brought you clothes if you want to change. And here's a lucky handkerchief. Don't lose hope, babe. We'll be cool. I'll be back soon. He leaves, and then she sees the kimono lady. So that was wild. But the picture, we see the picture, the first picture anyway, of Elgin was a bag of blood. And he went earlier to the med station to steal something to draw blood. So he starts to give blood. Then the camera goes off again. I'll put it on screen. And you can clearly make out that the picture has developed into the cabin that Fatima is staying at. So that's where he's going to go. Back to Henry. And he's like, listen, Jim, I've been in your shoes before. If I can give you some advice.
When you're with your wife, you should shut the fuck up and listen.
Shut the fuck up and listen to your wife. And he's like, look, dude, I've been there. I get it. Like, I'm sorry that you feel like this, but what you're doing is not helping. You need to just shut up and listen. So then he goes, when Julie was born, because he talks about how he doesn't drink, right? And we've never seen him drink throughout this whole series, so it adds up. So he talks about how when Julie was born, he went across the street to a bar and got the tallest glass of whiskey you could find, right? And he just looked at it and didn't drink it. Promised he'd be better than his dad, who was an alcoholic, and he promised he'd be a great father and a great husband. So then Henry pours a glass of vodka this time. He's like,
giving you the chance to renew your vows.
Do it again. So Ethan and Julie are at the place that she went to with Randall. She's like, everything went quiet when I came here. I feel like it wants me to go in. What do I do? And he explains, this 7-year-old, or however old he is, in his infinite wisdom, explains that she's at a threshold, the title of this episode, and she has to be brave. We can go in together. But then she goes in, but not really, because on the floor she's having a seizure, but in her mind, she gets transported into the room where they were chained up. So that was crazy. Yeah, she's just on the floor having a seizure. So we'll come back to what we see. Back to Sarah, she's with Victor, and she goes, hey, was it nice out when you saw Jasper talk? She's trying to bring back these memories for him, right? He goes, yeah, it was. I was actually playing hide and seek with my sister. I looked everywhere. I looked all in her spots. I looked at the church. Did I look at the church? That's where it was. It was in the church. That's where I heard him talk.
That was where it happened. That's where I saw Jasper talking to Christopher in the church.
Boyd is talking to Ellis, and says, hey, you shouldn't go back there. You're not going to be safe from her. And then Donna walks in. She's like, what the hell's going on? And Boyd just tells her.
It wasn't Sarah.
Boyd, look, I know you care.
It was Fatima.
Holy shit. All right, so now Donna knows, and that's crazy. There's more to this in a second, but quickly going back to Julie. So Kenny and Acosta find Ethan. He's trying screaming for help because she's having a seizure, and then we see what she sees. She sees Martin, and this is when Boyd was trapped in the well or whatever that was, and he needed the rope, so she threw the rope down for him. So she time traveled?
Hey, what?
Not only did that happen, but, you know, that went full circle with her being the one to throw the rope to Boyd, and then he got infected with Martin from the blood, and then he got the worms. So that set up a whole chain of events. And then she also heard when the basement collapsed and Tabitha was with Victor in the tunnels, she heard them too when they were walking around in tunnels. So it was like 2 different time periods.
Mom?
And then she also hears the Aunt Cooey kids, and then she wakes up and they're all like, what the fuck? You okay? You okay? She's like, yeah, I'm good. She hugs Ethan. So that was a really cool scene. This episode was fantastic. Back to Donna. She's like, look, we have to worry about the town. If you try to hide this, it's not going to be a good thing. Boyd's like, they'll understand like they understood Sarah. She's like, no one understood Sarah. And by the way, people don't really trust you anymore, Boyd.
It's not gonna work this time.
Why not?
Because they don't believe in you anymore.
You can't get away with this. We got to be honest. We got to tell the people what's going on. And then Ellis is like, I'll say I did it. He'll take the blame for it. It doesn't matter. It's a matter of time until it happens again. And if you guys don't tell that she did this, I'm going to. Victor and crew go to the church basement. Then he remembers that it wasn't Jasper that talked.
It wasn't Jasper.
So maybe Jasper doesn't matter at all. It was actually the boy in white. So here is the cliff notes of what Victor said that the boy in white said.
He said the answers to the end are at the beginning.
What the others did to the children. They were born and murdered in the dark. Someone who loved them told them a story and gave them hope. When they laid on the stone, they poured their hope to make a symbol, and the symbol made the tree. So the faraway tree. They said to save the children. The boy in white told Christopher to save the children by going through the tree, which he wouldn't do. So then Victor told his mother,
I told my mother what the boy in white said.
Miranda, to go through the tree, and that's why she left us. So that's the memory, and it's back. His memory is back. All right, and then here's the meat of the episode. Basically, Elgin goes to Fatima. He's like, hey, come with me. And Boyd and Ellis are walking their way there. And Boyd says, if things get worse, you know what to do. And then Ellis is like, if you had a chance to run with mom, even after she did what she did, would you have done it? But he doesn't have a chance to answer because they see Fatima is gone. And then we see where she is. Elgin is with her, taking her to the cellar. He says, Ellis is waiting for you down here. Just come with me.
There's a room down here that nobody knows about.
Come with me. So he tells her to go in. She calls out for Ellis, realizes he's not there, says she wants to go back and wait for Ellis. He says, you have to be here. This is the only place the baby will be safe. There is a baby in you.
It's just not yours.
Starts having pains, pushes Elgin, tries to walk up the steps. He drags her back and says, this is for the best, and pulls her inside the room. And that is how the episode ends. Elgin is losing it. Episode 9 of From, called Revelations Chapter 1. What a mindfuck of an episode. Wow, that was crazy, especially what happens at the end. All right, let's get started. Starts out with Ellis and Boyd. They're looking for Fatima. Boyd's like, let's try again in the morning. And then something goes wrong with Boyd. He's having pains from his Parkinson's disease. We find out later that it's getting worse, but Ellis doesn't know about it yet. And then we see Fatima, and she says that she saw the kimono lady as well. But what's inside me isn't good. What you're doing right now, Elgin, is not good. I killed Tilly. It's not a good thing. And he was like,
That happened because the baby was scared. You weren't feeding it.
He sits her down. He says, the stronger you are, the faster the birth will happen. He tries to feed her blood. She takes a little sip, and then she just grabs it off him and starts chugging. Just chugging blood. And then Victor says all he does is make things worse. He doesn't want to remember anymore. And then Tabitha touches him and feels something. And I wrote down, related, ? And then Kenny pops in. Hey, Tabitha, you got to go check on Julie. Something happened. So she goes. Julie's being talked to by Mary and Christy. And she's like, look.
I had a really weird dream. That's all.
And Jim wants to know what her and Ethan were even doing out there. She tries to explain it, but Tabitha walks in. So he goes and talks to Randall because she mentioned that she went there with Randall before. And he goes down to see Randall, but Randall's hearing the cicadas this time. He's not seeing them. And they stop when Jim shows up, and he asks what he was doing with Julie in the woods. And he's like,
look, if this is your version of the big bad dad routine, I'm not in the fucking mood, all right?
Then he says, I was just teaching her how to drive, man. I don't know about the ruins, but I told her not to go back, and it felt wrong. And he's like, all right, whatever. And he's like, want my advice? Teach your kid how to drive, because nothing else matters.
Because there's fuck all you can do about the rest. None of us are getting out of here alive.
So it's like, oh shit. All right, I guess so, Randall. I guess if that's the way you feel. He's kind of hopeless. That's his arc right now. We didn't get much more of him this episode. And then Boyd sits down with Ellis and he says, we need to talk. I've known this has been going on for a while, so sit down. We need to have a chat. And by the way, Fatima's fine.
She took the talisman. Wherever she is, wherever she went, she's safe.
And then real quick, we see Donna have flashbacks of Fatima's 1-year anniversary of being at the town. She's not going to rat her out because she loves Fatima and she loves what she means to everyone. And then Boyd, again, he's talking to Ellis and he's like, look, Christy and Kenny know it's been getting worse. And he's like, look, there's something else too. When I was in the barn with Tin Chen, they made me watch her die. They say they want to break me. And he thinks that whatever's going on with the baby is his fault. And Ellis is like, dude, don't be ridiculous. That's not your fault. How can that be your fault? And then a creature knocks on the window. He pulls the gun on her. And then she does this to her head. Like, kill yourself, motherfucker.
Shut your fucking mouth! Come on, Dad, just...
We're still going to break you. And we see Sarah manage to fix the little trinket that was given to her by her brother that Kenny broke last season. I don't know how she fixed it. That thing was shattered, but she did. And then she hears the voices again. Oh boy.
Leave me alone!
But we find out what they were very soon. So Elgin goes back to the cellar. Fatima got a weapon ready, and I was like, oh my God, she's going to kill Elgin right here, isn't she? So she's showing more. Her belly was bigger, and it gets even bigger throughout the episode. So that blood really did help kickstart things. She's like, hey, can you help me up? She cuts his hand. She tries to run off, and he brings her right back. Sarah goes to see Ellis and Boyd and asks, is Fatima okay? And she goes, she's missing, isn't she? And they're like, how the fuck do you know that? And she's like, it's the voices. They told me that something took her. She's close and afraid. They're laughing. They say you won't find her in time and you can't save her. And they're laughing at you. And then we see Victor. He's throwing shit out of his room.
What the hell is he doing?
You know, all the stuff that he kept that he thought would help. And he's like, none of this is any good. All they do is hurt. And then he goes downstairs. He's screaming. Acosta's like, what the hell are you doing? Kenny's trying to stop him. He grabs the axe. You see Acosta go for a gun, which has no bullets in it, mind you. I'm like, what the fuck?
If you tell us what you need the axe for.
I'm gonna go chop down the tree.
He heads out. They let him go. And then Bacta, the bus driver, she has the diner up and running again, which is really cool. And I think that's great for the community.
Nice to see the place up and running again.
And Boyd goes to Donna. He's like, look, I got it. And she's like, stop. I'm not going to say anything.
Because of what she means to people here, her spirit.
I don't think people could take it. I don't think I could take it. She means too much to the people here. She means too much to me. So let's call a meeting and say she's missing and try to find her. So that's the deal. So Boyd is ringing the bell. Donna says, everyone come outside for a minute. She went inside the diner and said that. And then Boyd gathers everyone around and says Fatima is missing. Elgin's right there. So obviously he knows what's happening and he's not going to say shit because Kimono Lady is in his head.
Nobody's seen her since last night.
And has him doing her dirty work. He says she's close by. And they're like, how the hell do you know she's close by? He's like, don't worry about that. So someone told us. Someone told us, all right? Something that thinks we don't have what it takes to find her, that we're going to lay down and die. Or we could say, fuck you, and we are going to find her.
Or we can say, fuck you.
We can fight back. He's like, pair up, cover every inch of this place. So they scatter. Boyd says it's best if one of us finds her to Ellis, and it's best if we split up so we can cover more ground. Boyd goes with Kenny, and then Elgin says, yo, Ellis, you need a partner? He wants to, obviously be with Ellis so Ellis doesn't find her. And they have a couple conversations later we'll talk about. So we'll see. Fatima is really pregnant now. She has grown even more since the last time we saw her. Her belly is out there. So that birth is coming by the finale for sure. And we'll find out what it is. She sees something, so she starts digging. Turns out to be a hatch. And then Acosta is with Donna, and she goes, so you got this info from Sarah, the crazy bitch who killed people? And by the way, you killed someone too, Acosta? So she's like, what if Sarah killed Tilly and Fatima and then made up some bullshit? And Donna's like, that's not how it works. Tell me how it works then. She's like, I'm a good cop. I can be an asset. Look, I don't have time for a tutorial right now. We need to find her because of what she means to the people of this town and to me. I need you to trust me, help me. And then when it's over, we can talk. And Boyd talks to Kenny. He's like, look, I lied to you about what Sarah did and I'm sorry. And Kenny's like, dude, we're looking for Fatima. What are you doing talking to me about this right now? And he's like, look, the Parkinson's is getting worse. My clock is ticking. When I'm gone or when I'm too feeble to do my job,
I need to know that you are going to step up. It has to be you wearing this badge.
He's like, look, I'm not going to take your badge, but if you need a deputy back, I'll be your deputy. So sweet. He's got his deputy badge back. So then Jade is making a new bottle tree and he sees Christopher and Jasper. And he's like, you guys can't scare me. And then they scare the shit out of him. Almost falls down the ladder. Henry's like, who are you talking to, or who do you think you're talking to? And he's like, look, didn't you hear about the meeting? Let's go look for her. I want you to look with me. Then we see Victor. He goes to the bottle tree and he starts hacking away.
Stop!
And the boy in white says, stop, you can't do that. And obviously they address that he got older. So he's like, you can't take it down the bottle tree. It's important. And he's like, look, I tried to help you guys with Christopher.
I think you need to learn for yourselves. It's the only way you'll understand.
And he's like, look, you're changing. Why you look older now? He's like, everything's changing now.
You're supposed to be my friend.
I am your friend.
And he's like, look, just don't cut down that tree. And he tries to get him to stop, but then he disappears. So that's what we get for now.
Come back!
And then Elgin is trying to gaslight Ellis. And then Ellis brings up how his mom died. And I can't go through that again. They come back in just a second. But quickly we see Ethan and Jim check the RV. And he brings up how he told Julie to go into the ruins. And this place wants us to be scared. But we have to always do our best no matter what. And then they agree. And they're going to go out searching again. But then Thomas comes through the radio in the RV.
Dad, please don't leave me alone here.
And Ethan is the one to be like, you're right, that's not Thomas. Fuck him. Let's go.
You were right. It's not him. It's not Thomas.
Smart little kid, man. Smart little kid. He's got wisdom beyond his years. And then Tabitha and Julie check Victor's hiding spot. And Julie says, hey, I don't think I was dreaming. It's like she went somewhere. Tells her about seeing the three of them all tied up. You know, Julie, Mary, and Randall. And then about Martin. She didn't mention throwing the rope, but she did mention that she heard Victor and Tabitha, and then she saw the Ankui kids. Then Tabitha hugs her, and then she sees one of them, one of the Ankui kids.
It's one of them watching us. She wants us to follow her.
Henry is talking to Jade about Victor, and he's like,
why not Tabitha? Or, I don't know, literally anybody else.
Why me? Why you got to talk to me about it? He's like, well, you remind me of Victor. He's like, really? All right. Well, listen, you can't fix Victor because he's not broken. He's the product of what this place made him. He's been here for decades. He's like Tarzan. He grew up in the jungle and now he's a jungle guy. And Jade's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going back to the bar where I can pretend like I'm helping. So he's done with searching. And Elgin is talking to Ellis again. He's like, look, you're not going to lose her. It's going to be okay. And then he says, hey, I got to tell you something. I had a dream on the bus. And Ellis is like, yeah, I know about that. But then since then, something has been trying to talk to me. What if this is happening for a reason? What if Fatima is doing something to help us? Brings up the baby. Why would the baby matter? And he's like, we don't have all the info yet, is all I'm saying. I think she's going to be okay. And then we see Fatima, and she found that hatch, but she sees the kimono lady who charges right at her. She's like, what do you want from me? And then kimono lady covers her mouth. And then we see the Ankui kid brought Tabitha and Julie to the cellar, exactly where Fatima is. So the Ankui kids were trying to help. So I guess they're a sign of good as well. She touches the cellar door, and then she has that feeling again, like when she touched Victor earlier. So we're getting all that type of stuff, right? And then she goes down, turns the light on. She sees Victor was down there. Victor says, this is where it happened, where my mom left me. Says he was the reason she died. And then she hugs him, and she gets like a memory of Miranda hugging Eloise and Victor.
I love you. I love you so much.
Running off, going to the bottle tree, and then getting killed by Smiley. Because Smiley jumped on her, so I guess that's when she died. So, the question is she Eloise? Or is she a reincarnated version of Miranda? The season 3 finale of From, called Revelations Chapter 2. Let's get into this episode, shall we? It was amazing. This season was amazing. So Boyd is talking to Kenny. Ellis walks in, and he's like, yo, Elgin knows. I know that motherfucker is hiding something. And that's because of last week. He kind of was too obvious about it with what he was saying to Ellis.
What if Fatima is out doing something to help us?
Then we see Fatima, and the baby's kicking all right. That was gross, whatever was going on in her belly. And then we see Victor tells Ethan that he saw the boy in white, but he wasn't very helpful. We get some more Victor stuff later on that I think is going to be beneficial in season 4. So Victor's character can move forward now. So we're going to get a new arc for Victor in season 4. That's exciting. Tabitha is talking to Jim, talks about when she hugged Victor, she could feel Miranda. And Jim's like, was it a vision? And she's like, no, it was more than that. She was trying to tell me something. Jim goes to Jade and he's like, look, man, I'm sorry. I was a dick. And he's like, look, Tabitha just told me some crazy shit. You got to go talk to her. So he's like, all right, sounds good. And then Boyd is talking to Sarah and he's like, doesn't this sound familiar what Elgin's saying? It's kind of like what you went through. So I need you to talk to him and tell him that the intentions of whatever is talking to him are not good because you went through the same thing. You almost killed a little boy, Ethan, because of them talking to you. You need to get this through his head that this is not a good thing. Donna walks out. What the hell's going on? They're telling me Elgin can't lead. And Boyd's like, I need you to clear the house because I'm going to do some shit. All right, so Jade goes to talk to Tabitha because you've had visions before, right? With the Civil War guy and everything you told me. He's like, this is different. You said that Miranda was trying to tell you something. So then he talks about the law of thermodynamics, you know, typical Jade stuff. And he says, I thought our memories were made of energy, but maybe that energy lingers here. And you saw that creepy kid, right? She goes, yeah, the Ankui kid. Why? What did they want you to see? Where were you, by the way, when this happened? And they were out by Victor's hiding spot. And he's like, all right, let's go back. Let's go back there. Maybe we'll get some answers there. Elgin is approached by Boyd, Donna, and Sarah. They take his bag off him. Ellis and Kenny are there too. Kenny is told to watch the door. Boyd goes, you pack for a trip? And I need you to tell me the truth right now. Do you know where Fatima is? She told me not to say anything. I want to help. What's happening is a good thing. And then he calls Kimono Lady an angel.
I think she's an angel. Something is happening here that's beyond our ability to understand.
He's just totally taken over by her. She's manipulating him and it's working, you know, for the Kimono Lady's benefit. Boyd says there's no baby. Whatever's growing inside her is not a child. He's correct about that. And he goes, Kimono Lady explained it all to me. And then Sarah talks to him. Do you know why I killed my brother? It's because of the voices, the same type of shit that's happening with you. This place doesn't give, it takes. And he goes, the baby born will get us all home. Ellis gets pissed and he's like,
what the fuck is that?
Ellis really, like, he was pissed, but he did get a good job in like holding himself back a little bit to try to get answers. So Sarah goes, look, he's not going to talk. And then Boyd's like, all right, well, I'm going to go get some tools then. Make him stay in there. Let me go get my tools. So then Henry's talking to Victor, and Victor's like, you're right. Jasper was just a doll. Henry says, I'm sorry, I couldn't have helped more. And then Victor's like, look, I got to show you something that's going to make you really angry. It might make you not want to talk to me anymore. This is kind of the closing of Victor's guilt arc. Boyd gets some torture tools. He sees Khatri, and Khatri's like, don't you see the irony? When Fatima killed Tilly, you lied about it. He goes, it wasn't her fault. How is this any different than Elgin? Which is true, guys. The place got to both of them, made them do things that are bad, and he's seeing one as different because it's his daughter-in-law. And then Boyd continues talking to Khatri.
You get to judge me. I'm doing the best I can.
You know there's no coming back from this, right?
But Boyd has made up his mind. So Fatima throws the glass of blood against the wall. It shatters. She picks up a piece of glass. We see what she does with that piece of glass later. Jade says there's one overlap in all of us that are having visions, right? The Ankui kids. The roots of the tree, they poured their hopes, all that stuff. And Jade is pissed. He starts screaming out, hoping that the Ankui kids can hear him.
If there is something you need us to understand, you're gonna have to do a little better because we are not getting it.
We're gonna wait right here until you come. You got to give us something more than Ankui. You know where to find us. Randall's getting a pump in. Cicada time. He hears the cicadas. He goes inside to Mary and Christy. Where's the equipment from the ambulance? He goes downstairs, and then he's going to shock himself, which would have killed him 100%. Good thing Mary stopped that, but I hope he stops hearing those damn cicadas. Every day you got to hear that shit? That sucks. So Boyd's back. Nobody come upstairs. What happens next is on me. And in my mind, Stuck in the Middle with You is playing right now. Kenny wants to talk to him one more time. He's a good kid. Let's talk to him. He's like, he's not going to talk. I got to do what I got to do. He's doing what he thinks he needs to do. This has to happen. He pulls out a hammer. The camera goes off and Elgin says, this is how she communicates. She wants to talk to you. So it's a picture of his house. So she's trying to get him to stop, to show that, oh, if you let this happen, you'll get what you want too. Doesn't work. Victor brought Henry to where he buried Miranda and what he thinks is Eloise. This was a very fucked up scene in my mind because he only had pieces of Eloise. She was so small. Oh, that's tough. So he feels guilt.
I will never stop being your dad.
Your mother
did what she did because she loved you.
And that's why I'm saying earlier, I think this is the end of the guilt arc for Victor, and he'll have a different arc next season. Back to Jade, and he's talking about how Miranda knew the numbers were important. Jade has tried every cipher he can imagine. And then Jim says,
aren't there 12 notes in a scale?
Jade says, we got to go to the bar. You're a fucking genius, Jim. Grab the violin. I stole it a few times. Go find it. Grab the violin. Meet me at the bar. Christy needs Mary to talk to her. Julie and Randall are fucked and you act like you're all good. Are you okay? She says no, and I don't think anyone will be. All right, and then we see Boyd tie Elgin up, and he's like, you think the picture of my house was gonna change my mind? Nah, it's missing the boat, by the way. Yeah, we were on the way to that house when I got stuck in this town. Not gonna change my mind. Elgin thinks it means they're going home, and then Boyd lays out all his torture devices.
You took my family. You're going to tell me where she is, or I am going to hurt you.
So he's like, put your hand on the table. Elgin doesn't want to do it. So he makes him put his hand on the table, smacks it with a hammer. Man, you should have talked right then and there, because what happens later? Oh boy, you don't want to fuck with Sarah. Jeez. All right, then we find Acosta's first name is Danny, so the Eloise theories are out the windows. Acosta stops it, and everybody goes downstairs to reconvene and talk about what they're going to do with Elgin. And then Jade has the numbers all laid out. He's trying to find how the notes line up in order to make the song, but then he can hear the music. And Jim goes, this is kind of weird. All of a sudden the music popped into your head? That's odd. Don't you remember the haunted music box or the jukeboxes that play on their own? This doesn't seem like a good idea. So Tabitha says, well, don't play it in town. Let's go to the bottle tree and play it there, just to be safe. So that's what they do. Fatima has the cut glass. She tries to cut into her belly, but Kimono Lady stops her, and we see the water break, and she says, it's coming. So here comes the baby. Oh shit, we're getting there. Julie and Ethan in the diner. I went to the ruins and I didn't have just a dream. I went somewhere. I think I was actually there. And then Ethan says,
you're a story walker. Someone who can visit chapters of the story that already happened.
And she says, can I change the story? And he says no, and I agree. What's happened, happened, just like Tenet, just like what happens in that movie. What's happened, happened. So Acosta's trying to talk Boyd out of torture, but then Sarah sneaks off. She goes upstairs, talks to Elgin. She goes, you know, we're alike. I know you think you're trying to save everyone, but Boyd doesn't understand how far he needs to go to get you to talk.
I won't let it take his soul. I've already given it mine.
You see her eyeing up the torture devices like, what am I going to use? All right. Yeah, she's nuts, man. And then everyone hears Elgin scream his life away. Like, holy shit, he screamed loud. Ugh. And we walk in the door with everybody else, and we see that she had cut Elgin's eye out. And then she turns and calmly says, yeah, she's in the root cellar. Like, there you go. We see Jade by the bottle tray. He's playing the song on the violin. Ellis and gang are rushing to Fatima, but she's already giving birth. Kimono Lady is doing it, and she pulls out what looks like a sack or a cocoon type of thing, and everybody walks in, and Fatima says she took it. She went down the cellar door right there. Boyd says, get her back to Colony House. I need to see what's going on. So he goes down the hatch, which is crazy. So Jade is still playing the song, brings the Ankui kids out. He sees them too. Tabitha sees them, and she's like, keep playing. So then we see a quick scene. Fatima is talking to Ellis, and she says she saw what the monsters are. They sacrificed their children because it promised them they would live forever. So cool we got that answer. Yeah. Really cool reveal. So then we see the Kimono Lady place the cocoon down on the ground, and then it starts to get bigger, and Boyd shows up, and he's looking over the corner there, and we see it get bigger and bigger and bigger. Out pops a naked ass Smiley. So Smiley is back. All right, then the kids see Aunt Cooey, and then they know what it means. It means remember. So another answer that we got this season. And Jade goes, we used to sing them lullabies. Tabitha walks off. She knows why she and Jade can see them, why there's more than one bracelet, because we've been here before. It's because I am Miranda. Jade is Christopher. Love that we got that answer. And she said we've come back over and over again because we keep failing. We were here in the beginning. We tried to save the kids because one of them is ours. Tabitha needs some time. This is the last time her and Jim speak. Jim walks off to the RV, and then we hear Julie calling out. And this is her time traveling again because she has different hair. She's got a cut on her face. So I'm sure this is going to be a scene from season 4. And then we see the man in yellow. He's finally on screen. So man in yellow is here, and he can walk during the day and apparently kill people during the day. So he walks up to Jim. That was a hell of a song, but knowledge comes with the cost, brother.
Your wife shouldn't have dug that hole, Jim.
And then everyone, the man in yellow rips Jim's throat. R.I.P. Jim. So That's how the season ends. Crazy way to end the season. Thanks so much for watching this recap. My name is Dan of Scene Invaders. If you're looking for From content, look no further. Scene Invaders has you covered. We're going to be doing 3 videos a week. Episode breakdowns, trailer breakdowns for the next episode, and then theory videos. Theory videos, we take your comments, we react to them, we speculate about them, get all into it. We love From here, so look no further. This video is made cutting together last year's episodes of our reviews, so we're going to do it all again this year for season 4. Hope to see you in the comment section. Thank you again for watching. Later.